by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, a very pleasant and welcome to each and everyone. And we have, as usual, an opportunity to engage, invite, inform, and involve our first discussion, the Chief Business Officer at Commander Bay, Health City East End, Health City Cayman Islands. Hey, the one and only Shomari Scott. Somebody used to call him the Dunk Master, but then he woke up. We're going to have some fun as we inform. 1 o'clock, our good friends from the Lions Club will join us, and then 1:30, we're welcoming, three gentlemen who are going to talk to us from the port perspective. Hey, want to hear, want to share? So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. And I'm always grateful for any opportunity and every opportunity to focus and showcase and highlight the importance of what I believe is and should never ever be a political statement. But your pillars in your society are simple: strong, robust healthcare sector, and likewise education. If Shomari Scott, initially, welcome, sir.
Hey, good to be here again.
Right. Always a pleasure, man.
Sterling
Dwayne Ebanks. No,
yeah.
I don't ask so much,
Yeah, you want it the other way around.
No. You see, my daddy is Sterling. I gave it to my son.
Yeah.
My parents gave it to me. I keep it and pass it on.
Okay.
And the reason why, thank you for sharing that. And I was going to say, initially welcome you in your personal capacity. The product of educators, parents. Your dad would agree your mom's a fantastic person. McCanna is just an amazing Dr. McCanna.
That's right.
If you would allow me to say that.
Get it right.
Get it right. Name is important. Just like it's Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. The late Mr. Dolan, I miss him greatly, and he would have fun. And yet, I could feel the love, attempt at fun, his levity. But there was a healthy sort of, I don't want to say respect because he was a bit older than me, but it was that. Mm-hmm. And I said it to share that in our banter and exchange, maybe we can highlight the importance of two things. Us giving, as Ms. Marlin has reminded us, over time, with talent and treasure. But secondly, not just because the scripture says, and I believe we subscribe to it, too much is given, much is required, right? The notion that we live and occupy this space, this time, in this community, are we extracting? Are we contributing? And whatever it is that we're giving, is it of our best? I'm sure your mama told you the same as mine. Mm-hmm. You never give anybody your rags. You give away the best. You offer up the best. Mm-hmm. Right? And you don't give it begrudgingly.
Right.
True?
Yeah. You're preaching today.
I'm preaching, brother, and I say, come to the fold. Let us all.
You're preaching. But it's great to be here. As always, Sterling Dwayne. It's great to be here.
Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Say it again, my friend. Say it again.
Sterling Dwayne. I'll leave you to the Ebanks. Yeah?
No, see, Adam and Eve, Ebanks. Look at the Coptic text.
But no, it's great to be here as always. I'm glad you showed up because last time you were here too, and I think the time before, but the two times before that you were gone. You were MIA.
So no, I wasn't MIA. So just so you and everybody else who's asked, let me answer. When I'm not here, it's because I'm not here. But secondly, when I'm not here, it's because I'm consciously not here. Right. We all need to do a number of things, and I'm saying this publicly to remind even me. as much as I like chocolate, I rarely would buy it for myself. I often justify the purchase of that $5 or $15 piece of chocolate because I want to share it with you.
Okay.
Not only because in sharing, it's not just caring as the Care Bears say, but in sharing, you fellowshipping, right?
Right.
But for some weird reason, I have to justify that. There's a word that I was just introduced to. A young lady writing, I think it was either in The Guardian, I believe it was, that talked about her early education and her mother, and recognizing that the home life was one where they didn't have much. And so when she's now unwilling, even now that she has much, to spend on herself. For some reason, we have internalized that. And so me buying and treating me, I see it as selfish, not selfless. So many people say self-care is good. Yeah, that may be a thing. It may be really, but how easy it is for many of us to make us a priority. Because so many, when we do, say, look at that, that's selfish, blah, 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 blah. So when I look at you, you've epitomized the importance of an investment in education. You smile graciously, whatever challenges and trials and tribulations you have. You go in the corner that needs to be gone, whether you have support and nurtured. But the public don't need to see what's transpiring. And more of us need to do that. Not because we become compartmentalizing, but because we recognize that unless somebody genuine and want to help you carry your bucket of water, when they ask you, they just want to mind your business.
Right.
And no space for that, bro.
Well, that was a long way for you to come back around for me to say that you're talking about you buy chocolate, big expensive chocolate to share with people, but I don't see any chocolate here today.
No,
you know,
see, you missed the point again.
You see, but that's okay. That's okay. And you can keep your chocolate. You can eat all your chocolate. But we have executive health checks for you to come and check your numbers. Yeah. We have but you're so correct in regards to we were even speaking before this, and you were talking about wealth, right? Yeah. And wealth, even from a monetary perspective, that will help you to have experiences with the people you love. Without health, that type of wealth means nothing. And Health City has been here for 10 years, over 10 years. I'm going to be going into 11 years come April of next year. And the first instance of Health City being here was everything we would have done up east, and we still have a great facility there. But right on the heels of our 10-year anniversary, once again, we put our money where our mouth is. We've spent over or close to $300 million in regards to physical assets. That's money in the ground for the development of the healthcare sector here in the Cayman Islands. And Camana Bay, Health City at Camana Bay, is just that next evolution of what we're doing. If you actually look at the statistics, it would show you that over 20% of both men and female, males and females, when they pass in the Cayman Islands, is through cardiovascular issues, and over 20% as well, also from a oncology cancer perspective. And we came, and obviously we would have filled that gap when it came to cardiac, that if you had a heart attack prior to Health City being here, you'd have to wait hours on end in order to get air ambulanced out to Miami and or to Jamaica in certain instances. Yeah, when you could not want to go to Miami or a visa. Right. So, and all of the expense outside of the time matters, right? It isn't, not to cut you, but it isn't many people, as Miss Debbie from the Lions yesterday reminded us, it isn't if you have a good insurance, there are things that aren't covered. And if you're elsewhere to be treated, there is a financial cost. Having to live there that the insurance will not cover. Right. So the facility is important. So time is muscle, meaning that heart muscle, and the longer you wait in order to be treated, the more and more it dies. So some people would have lost their life or wouldn't have had the quality of life that they're able to have getting to an operating theater in a timely manner. But outside of that, when you look at expense from a government as well as a local insurance perspective, the highest cost jurisdiction when it comes to healthcare practically in the world is the U.S. And there was an article that was written many years ago that spoke about the top 20 most expensive hospitals in the U.S. And 5 or 6 of them were located in Florida. And where do we send the majority? So you can understand, even just from a regular baseline, looking at what a operation would cost in anywhere else. We were definitely spending a high ticket item, and obviously Health City would have filled that gap, would have given you the same quality, if not better, outcomes. Right, and obviously with the time, better outcomes. But also a fraction of the cost, at least half, if not more, 75% less than what insurance companies would have been spending overseas, right? So there are many different angles by which Health City would have covered some gaps and helped the Cayman Islands move forward from a healthcare perspective. Obviously, quality of outcomes being one, standard of living because of having access to these types of facilities, as well as reduction of cost. And a lot of times people look at the cost as it is today, and they don't realize that if that line had continued to grow, how much less sustainable the budget would have been if we had to continue to pay the amount of money that we were paying 10 years ago versus today. And we've even done an analysis where it's well over, and I'll find it because I have the number here, but it's well over hundreds of millions of dollars that would have been saved in the 10 years that Health City has been here as well. So with us having Health City at Cayman Bay, we now, from an oncology perspective, are able to do the full suite. So 98% of any ailment you will have, we will be able to treat you at Health City. And we also have a partnership with Dana-Farber, which is the medical institute that's aligned with Harvard, right? And one of the top cancer institutes in the world. And we have a direct partnership with them, that there are different learnings that can happen between both, as well as if there was anything within that 2% that we weren't able to handle, we know we have a partner that we trust that does the highest level of outcomes from a cancer care perspective, that we would be able to work with them as well from that perspective. So that's just a short snippet of why we're at Health City at Cayman Bay, but we'll get into more details.
Well, I appreciate you, and this is where I think this conversation, as we go into the break, I'll complement some of the things you just shared. One is, yes, the U.S. in and of itself may be perceived as a high-cost jurisdiction relative to medical treatment. But I think it was Health Consultants International who did a number of studies that say, well, is that cost, when you look at it overall, is it as high? Given the malpractice insurance and the fear of that, and the willingness for litigants to come forward and the access that they'll have to their judicial system. But secondly, when you think of, as you just shared, the quality of outcomes, then you can get something, perhaps less elsewhere, but is it at that high standard? That, to me, in your last point, where you talked about the association with Dana-Farber, Health City complements that, in that you have access and affordability here, but if necessary, either through the collaborative approach with on-island sort of providers. And this is where I enjoy this conversation, and it puts me back to my initial point. Healthcare and education complement and are, if you cement them properly, your pillars. Correct. So when we come back, can you talk to us more about what is transpiring? One of the things we like to ask publicly for answer. The Cayman Islands is a small space geographically, small in terms of the population, but we have two facilities, one in Cayman Bay, just hopefully open or soon to be, you'll tell us, and one in East End, that are stones throw apart, relatively speaking. Let's talk about the rationale, economics, the complement, the competitive, whatever it is. Can we talk about that somewhat if possible?
No, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Join us after the break. Some affectionately call him, Dr. Shomari. Well, we won't do that today. He is the Chief Business Officer of Health
Promise
City.
you I won't come to your patient room.
No, we won't invite you in there either.
Or the operating theater.
Stay tuned. Join us after the break.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just the delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, thank you back so much for joining us. And as we welcome you, quick reminder, 1 o'clock after headlines, good friends from the Lions Club will come chat with us. 1:30. We have 3 gentlemen scheduled to come into the program, and we're going to talk about the port. I believe tomorrow the Tourism Ministry will be having a press release, so we'll hear that perspective. But today, 3 private citizens will share with us. But now, we've got Shomari Scott, the Chief Business Officer at Health City. Hoping that as we listen, we'll come away with a couple of things. One, how important it is for us to have a strong, robust healthcare sector that is not only competent, but it's affordable and accessible. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, a recognition that there's a role for many of our students within that sector, whether directly involved in the sort of the medical side, or as I call it, the supporting cast, the admin. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think over the years of our discussions here, we've seen that. But you were sharing with us, and we asked the question if it's something that we can have answered publicly. If possible. You got 2 facilities. One is,
correct,
just about to be open, I guess.
Correct.
So to be a part of it.
So that's the reason we're here. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Look at you.
Who said you your full name? I give you your full name.
And thank you.
Yes. So no. So obviously a lot of questions like, what you going to do up East End? So we've segmented it in such a way that this new facility that's in Camana Bay, regardless what ailment you have, you'll be able to come there. We have all the latest diagnostic equipment. We'll be able to treat you there if needed. Yeah. However, what we're looking at is a daycare center where if you have day surgeries, you need, if you have an orthopedic procedure that can be done in a day, it'll be done there. If you have a general surgery procedure that can be done in a day, it will be done there. But outside of that, neonatology. So traveling and traversing the Caribbean, the one question, not one question, there are usually, one question with 3 parts. They usually would say, okay, great that you're doing cardiac, great that you're doing neuro, great that you're doing spine, orthopedics, et cetera, et cetera. But just to let you know, the real pain point for us is when we have these $1 million babies. What do you mean, $1 million babies? And they said, anytime we have a neonate that needs that type of care from the level of NICU that we don't have, and we have to send it into the U.S., send the baby into the U.S., that's $1 million off the bat. So we called it the $1 million babies. And knowing and understanding a lot of the insurance providers within the other Caribbean, a lot of times that's either out of the reach or it really decimates a government budget and or may hit lifetime maxes for other coverage. Yeah. So they're like, if you could ever, deal with neonates, could we see where you're able to offer the type of quality that you're able to offer at a fraction of the cost? So if you're ever able to do that, go ahead, please. So sure enough, we listened. And we here in Cayman as well would also have to send babies into South Florida, the $1 million babies. So we're going to fill that gap where we're going to have a NICU at Health City Camana Bay. And obviously when you have the Dr. Benoits and the such that deal with little tiny babies in order to do heart surgeries and the rest, we'll have the full team there that's going to be able to deal with your premature babies. From a cancer care perspective that I mentioned, that was one of the top killers in the Cayman Islands, as well as when you look throughout the Caribbean and even globally. We are going to have the full range from a cancer care perspective. So the Gene Thompson Radiotherapy Center, we built the building in 2 phases. That one we built first so that we would be able to treat, and we've treated over 100 patients in that radiotherapy center that otherwise either wouldn't have gotten access or would have had to go overseas and spend many weeks at a time overseas versus being here close to their family, as well as, like it or not, at times sick days run out, and depending on which employer you have, they may say you kind of need to come to work. So
you lose your job if not.
We've filled, and you don't even think about those things, where we filled a gap where even when we were saying, okay, we would start the facility at the same time we start East End, for instance, and we would hear from our patients, well, can you start a little bit earlier so I can come get my fraction and then go back to work? So we open the facility early in the morning so that patients can come, get their fractions from a radiotherapy perspective, and actually go back to work or drop kids to school or whatever they need to do. So that's part of the invaluable nature of that offering that we're offering right there at the Gene Thompson Radiotherapy Center.
Let me just ask you, when you say fractions, right, just to make sure. I mean, I'm familiar with it because of obvious reasons, but we're not talking math class.
No.
So for those who don't know.
So when you have radiotherapy, there are certain treatments that you have to do on a continuous basis over a period of time. And you'll have one treatment today, and then you might have to have another in 2 days, 3 days, a week. And it can take anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes in order to get that. So that's what I'm speaking about. And you have many that you need to get. So even though it's just 15 minutes out of your day, if you're overseas, you still will have to stay for a month to 2 months because there are a few days in between or maybe a week in between. So being able to do it here gives additional invaluable types of benefit that we didn't really foresee before. And even to also state what we were seeing were actually people who had delayed their treatment. And when you ask, why would you do that? Insurance had it covered. You could have gone overseas. And then you start to hear the stories about, well, I couldn't leave my child, or the job I needed to just find the right time that I could get the 2 months off. And it's things that you don't really think about.
Here's one.
But being here.
People go away, right?
Yes.
And delay their treatment because the insurance, the job, the family, all that's covered. But extra money for accommodation, to quote unquote live while they're doing the treatment.
Correct.
Right? And those are many things, as Ms. Deborah reminded us, that we don't anticipate.
Correct.
I wanted to ask you, though, just quickly, when you talk about $1 million babies and you reference Florida, for neonatal in particular as the $1 million baby, is that just in Florida or is that in a lot of other U.S. states?
Well, it could be in a lot of other U.S. states. I won't say yes because what I'm more familiar with are Caribbean countries that would typically send their babies to the U.S.
Right.
And to Florida. So I'll only speak to that because I'm not
fair enough
aware of
but it's proximity,
places,
right?
And it's proximity as well as familiarity and everything else. But just to also mention Sterling Dwayne
Ebanks.
There
you go.
Just to mention that. So at this new facility, we're also going to be offering emergency services, which we do in East End, but at a higher level in the Cayman Bay area for trauma and other types of ailments, because we come from a health system which is Narayana. So that's Dr. Shetty's hospitals, which is the second largest private healthcare institution in India. India is the most populous country in the world, 1.44 billion, right? Currently overtook China, I think maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it's the second largest private healthcare institution within India. So from that institution, and based on the vision that Dr. Shetty has, where a solution is not a solution if it isn't affordable, he wanted to ensure that obviously throughout his hospitals you have the best expertise, but now here in the Cayman Islands, where we're more or less that proof being put forth that shows that you can be in a high cost jurisdiction, and with the proper efficiencies, with the proper quality of outcomes, you can actually get your services to a point where it's at an affordable price that allows people to gain access to it as well.
So this is more than just economies of scale?
Yeah, 100%. So for instance, because in Cayman we don't have economies of scale.
This is what I'm asking. Yeah.
So what you're able to actually show is that, for instance, if you look at infections, right? If you look at readmissions, if you are not efficient and if you don't have the protocols within your healthcare organization, that strips out a lot of the readmission. So if I do a surgery and you need to come back in 30 days to do the surgery again, or to do another surgery, that's cost, right?
Yeah.
So when you actually look at the benchmark for readmissions, Health City is well above the benchmark in regards to the number of people that come back. So even on our website, you'll be able to go look at our quality of outcomes. We give you the benchmark, who it's by, CDC, whomever, and for out of the majority 200 indicators, we are much better than the benchmark for 198 of the 200. And this is why even persons who come from the U.S. that come and look at our model, this is why Harvard has written about Health City. This is why the Wall Street Journal has written about Health City. This is why USA Today has written about Health City and Dr. Shetty, in that when they come, they marvel at the quality of outcomes. And with that quality of outcome, then you can reduce the cost. So there was a gentleman who was a writer for Forbes who actually came and saw our facility and saw everything we did. And he's like, oh my goodness. He's like, I now get it. He's like, he said it, I didn't say it. He said, you know, in the U.S., if for instance, we cut off the wrong leg, we pray to God that you don't sue us, and then we cut off the right leg and we charge you for both, right? But he's saying when you guys actually do an operation based on these quality of outcomes, you get it right the first time, and you don't have high infections. A lot of the waste that happens in a lot of other systems is due to the infections and due to the readmissions and the such. But by you stripping that away, you're actually able to actually keep the costs low. And obviously your margins are much lower, that you're able to give people access. And through your efficiencies, you're able to still be profitable in doing what you're doing. And as Dr. Shetty always said, he said, you know, Shomari, if you're giving things away for free, there'll come a point in time where you will run out of money, you won't be able to do it again. However, if you're doing things efficiently and you're able to figure out through business processes and through quality to be able to do it efficiently and to get that profit margin out of it, you're then able to reinvest and have the best equipment, the best doctors, and the best facility possible in order to continue to deliver that excellence.
Right. So are we going to take the break, and then when we come back, we'll invite you for your closing thoughts. And as you said, you know, some of these things cannot be undone. You can't unring the bell. So do it right the first time. All right, let's pause. When we come back, you know, we'll continue to hear from Shomari Scott. Stay tuned.
The rich flavors of Italy just arrived at Subway. Say ciao to the Italianos. Our 3 new Subway Series recipes, carefully crafted with an Italian flair. Try the Hot Shot Italiano for an enticing and zesty touch. The tastier than ever Ultimate BMT, generously stuffed with a mix of ham, pepperoni, and salami. Or go all in with a creamy chicken bacon Alfredo. New Subway Series Italianos. Chef-crafted greatness in every bite. Elevate your game only at Subway. Delizioso.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back and thank you for joining us. And just after the headline news, we're going to have a good chat with our friends from Lions Club. But if Shomari will accept it, publicly, thanks very much. Not only to you, Dr. Ravi, Dr. Benoy, all of the team over there. I won't name drop, but from you, Dr. Tarans and the like, Dr. Archida. And it can go increasingly. But I also want to share that not dismissing the other private sector providers, but at HSA, people like Dr. Kriegel, right, as a complement in the sector for what you referenced, the orthopedics, people like Dr. Larson and like that complement, in terms of the number of people that we have that are competent, but also that complementary with the E in terms of the cross benefit to me, the patient.
Right.
To me, as a member of the community, okay, I say that in asking if you might share as much as you can. You're talking about East End facility at your house city, offering emergency services, the Kamana Bay will for trauma and as much as you wish or can at this time. We all, I believe, had the either perception, understanding, acceptance, acknowledgement, whatever, ER, emergency, something's happened, an accident, God forbid, ambulance comes, grabs you, and you end up at HSA as opposed to maybe a facility that's closer. Or saying, and I want to make sure I hear it. If Health City Commander Bay is closer, Health City East End is closer, you can go there?
So if you're driving, you can come to us for anything. Right?
I get that.
From a national response perspective, then that is squarely in the playground of the government, just to look at the different policies that have been there for many, many years and to make a determination. The only place on island that has a cardiothoracic surgeon that if you were to go in and get a stent that had to be converted quickly into cardiothoracic surgery would be Health City. We have the only interventional neurologist, one of the only in the Caribbean, but the only on island. So there are various areas by which we have the team that will be able to deal with you appropriately and quickly. But that being said, We have a great relationship with HSA that we work hand in hand
Right.
with them when needed. We have a great relationship as much as possible with other private facility providers. When we first came on island, there might have been some apprehension with the number of physicians that we may have, but we were offering things that weren't offered
Right.
on island, right? So there was a benefit there. But just to also mention, I know you're a guy for statistics. If you actually look at the statistics, since Health City has been here, the private sector doctors, from a percentage perspective, has practically doubled, right? So it isn't that Health City has oversaturated the market. We brought services that weren't here before, but just your regular doctor's offices has more or less doubled since we've been here, which has nothing to do with Health City. So just to state that,
But thank you for that.
It wasn't Health City that was actually doing that.
Right.
Sterling, just to also mention that we have a senior health check promotion, right? In that,
see what I told you earlier before the break?
Today is International Day of Older Persons. That's October 1st. We actually have a more mature physician, a physician for more mature persons. He does not like to be called a geriatric physician. Understanding that as well as the world goes as well, the number of persons who fit the category of the more mature persons for the first time in human history will be at a higher percentage than your young as well as your children, right? Now, there's a whole other list of issues, but that isn't for us to discuss today. So for adults over 65 years of age, we're going to be given an assessment that has to do with your memory, bone health, has to do with balance, continence by our experienced physicians. And we're also, as part of the promotion, with our partner ENT in Cayman, going to give a free hearing test as well. And you have to book between October 14th and October 31st. We give the price of US $250 for those that don't have the insurance benefits. But if there is somebody who needs to gain access and can't afford it, you just go ahead and call us, email us, and we'll figure that out. 640-4040 or info@healthcity.ky. And because we're speaking about older persons, just also have to speak about the youth, in that we have a program called Healthcare Explorers that has reached that has had over 55,000 interactions with students over our 10 years. Now, a student can take 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 different programs, but we're really proud of the fact that we have that various different types of programs. Shadow a doctor. We've also worked with all of the science teachers to understand what their curriculum is saying. And for instance, if it has to do with light or magnets, we then create a video that is interactive that will show you how light and magnets work with the MRI and make it age appropriate. And now the science teachers take that and use that in their classrooms to excite their students. And on the back end, students can speak to a doctor to ask any questions that they like to ask as well. We have a unit. That unit reports into myself, and we have a unit where we've hired 2 full-time individuals that this is what they do to more or less invest in our youth. And obviously we have student grants where needed and such, but to invest in programs to reach our youth, to get them aligned towards careers in STEM so that they can understand what they need to do now if they want to be X, Y, and Z in the future, so that they don't miss any courses or, you want to be a doctor, but you didn't realize you actually had to do well in biology. We're able, as simple as that sounds, some people didn't realize they may need 3 sciences, right? That we can have those conversations to get them on the right track, to hand in glove work with the government, work with private schools, public schools, even parents, give that experience and that taste to get them acclimatized to understanding that it is possible to have a career in healthcare. And the one thing, when you look at a barrier that typically would stop a lot of students in other countries, it's cost to be able to go to medical school. We are blessed to be in the Cayman Islands, where the government, if you get your grades, regardless of your background, will pay for you to go to medical school. So now we can actually speak to students that it may be first generational, that going overseas, that their parents may not understand that the government will take care of it. and we kind of help to guide them as well, working hand in hand to make that. So that's just a few of the things. We could sit here all day. That's why when you asked me, do you think we're going to need the 45 minutes? I said, we'll talk as long as possible because in all honesty, Dwayne, we could sit here, Dwayne, we could sit here and speak about many different aspects of Health City and what we're doing for 3 hours.
Yeah. And this is when I asked that, and as I said to many guests, I don't want you to ever rush, but I want you to be a hostage. And for me,
never hostage.
Because education.
We can always talk about the Miami Dolphins. Well, probably not after last night.
Joel Wilson and Dion come and rescue this one, man.
That's basketball. They don't know about football. We leave them in.
That's what I'm trying to.
Well, the Lakers not much better, so yeah.
These days, you know what? Let me leave that alone before we start talking about something that she was like, shh, keep quiet. Shomari, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Like your closing point, and that many of us start to appreciate the importance of what the healthcare sector is to our country, the employment, but also the educational opportunities and the importance of that in investment. So, looking forward to the next time you and or any of your team members come in.
Definitely. We got to make it more often, you see. There's too much to talk about in 45 minutes.
Hey, listen, man. Actually, these are good things to talk about.
Yeah. Good things.
Enjoy yourself this afternoon.
Definitely.
All right. And to our listeners, after the wonderful news team brings you the latest, join us for a conversation with our friends from Lions.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is working closely with the Public Health Department to amplify the HPV vaccination drive in the month of October. For more information or to book an appointment, visit hsa.ky. In international news, the bodies of 20 children and 3 teachers have been recovered after a bus transporting school pupils crashed and caught fire outside Bangkok. The bus was returning to the Thai capital after a school trip to the north of the country. Videos from the scene showed flames engulfing the bus as it burned under an overpass, with huge clouds of dense black smoke billowing into the sky. The driver handed himself into police 61 miles north of Bangkok, according to local media. Tens of thousands of dock workers have gone on strike indefinitely at ports across much of the U.S., threatening significant trade and economic disruption ahead of the presidential election and the busy holiday shopping season. Members of the International Longshoremen's Association walked out on Tuesday at 14 major ports along the East and Gulf coasts, halting container traffic from Maine to Texas. The action marks the first such shutdown in almost 50 years. President Joe Biden has the power to suspend the strike for 80 days for further negotiations, but the White House has said he is not planning to act. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
The Bogue is the 8-kilometer or 4,000-foot channel from the western point on Cayman Brac to Point Asan on Little Cayman. On the 2nd of May, 1987, Jeff Miller crossed the Bogue in 2 hours and 36 minutes. He was later nominated for the Udovin Award for Most Adventurous Swim by the Marathon Swimmers Federation for a circumnavigation swim around St. John Island. Since then, many swimmers, including a former Cayman Islands governor, have continued to swim the Bogue, with subsequent charity events being created.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walker's Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walker's Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers and the motoring public of wastewater infrastructure upgrade works along West Bay Road near Kintyre Drive opposite Treasure Island. Preliminary activities will take place on Tuesday, October 1st, with the main works beginning soon thereafter, weather permitting. This work is anticipated to continue for approximately 2 weeks. During this time, the southbound lane of West Bay Road will be partially obstructed. However, Water Authority and its contractor will maintain two-way traffic throughout. Traffic signs will be in place in the general vicinity of the works. Motorists are asked to drive with caution and follow all signs when in the area to ensure their own safety as well as the safety of the Water Authority and its contractors' staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its wastewater infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thank you for joining us. And it's always a pleasure to be able to put where I believe is needed, necessary, and timely emphasis on education and health, and when they go hand in hand, that you can be educated, about your health and well-being. And when there are entities who come forward, like our friends at Lions, I honored to be a part of it. So, October and breast cancer have now become synonymous almost. Welcome. How are you?
I am doing well. Grateful for the many blessings that we continue to get each and every day.
Oh, just as you were coming, I said, "Would you do it this way for me?" I know we've been preparing. So would you please?
Okay, so my name is Liz Smith, and I am a member of the Tropical Gardens of Lions Club. It's not about me, really. It's about our breast cancer awareness campaign, which takes place during the month of October, and it's a very, very busy month. It's filled with our district awareness clinics that take place in each of our districts from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And then we have district awareness evenings that take place from 7 o'clock p.m. And there's a calendar that's available. It's on our website, so please feel free to go onto the LCTG website, Breast Cancer Awareness, and all of that information is there.
Yeah, that's the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens.
That is correct. Lions Club of Tropical Gardens, LCTG, Breast Cancer Awareness. One of the things that I would like to share is that we do have a pink shop, and I have my strong bag with me filled with goodies just to share some of the items that we have in the pink shop. We have caps in black and white. We have our dress pink shirt that's now ready, available. We also have other little things like ties for men. Okay, and for the women who want to go macho, we also have.
I'll help you, Miss Liz.
Okay, and we have socks and headbands. Those of us who are walkers and so forth, and headbands. This year at our walk run, which takes place on the 13th of October, that's Sunday morning, the 13th of October, everybody will be given, these are our medallions that you will get having participated in the walk run. And we like to be fun. We like to be fun. So we do things like our little hat.
You think that'll look good on Miss Norma? Maybe we can get her to wear it to work.
We could try her. Yeah. And then, Sterling, we do have pins as well. And as you will see from my vest, I love to collect pins. Sterling, I'd like to give this one to you. It says, "Nothing is impossible when we fight together." And if you look at our T-shirt, we've got the woman's heel there, the woman's shoe. Because what we want to do this year is to crush breast cancer. Yeah. So, yes, lots of goodies. This is just a sample of what we have. The pink shop is open. It's open as of today. And the opening hours are from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday. And on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for those of you who are not able to make it there. It's located just across from Napa,
right
near the car park near to Mango Tree Restaurant. So pop into Mango Tree, have some lunch, go over to the pink shop.
Mr. McSimmons used to have his office, right?
That is correct, yes. Yeah. So we invite everyone to come out to the pink shop to make sure you get your paraphernalia, your jewelry and all kinds of things that we can, have at the
you got a piece of
fun.
Yeah,
I probably got a bit of pink in my head. Yes.
But Miss Liz, I thank you. First and foremost, this is such a wonderful gesture, and the idea that, as you said, fighting together, and that's what's important. Scripture talks about house divided can't stand, and we're stronger together. Now you have, just because of the cameras, on your right side.
Yes.
On the other right side. Yes. There you go. Yes. Only a piece of fuzz. It looks good on you. There you go. And secondly, the levity that you bring with this learning opportunity. Those who know you and you share with us, the joy is still there, and it's surrounded because you're nurtured, supported, loved, and you feel, that the community is with us. And I think having the Lions in particular, the Lions Club Trop Gardens specifically, champion this cause, bringing it in such a way that it reminds us of how important it is to be our brother's keeper.
Yes.
And that brother is the plural, including all and sunder alike.
Yes.
So we're honored to just sit here and learn, through
So I'm glad you mentioned education.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night at
Mm-hmm.
East End,
Mm-hmm.
at East End United Church Hall, is our first district awareness night in Grand Cayman for the month of October. And we invite everyone, especially those in the eastern districts, to attend. It starts at 7 o'clock, as I said. And at our district awareness evenings, we do have a medical doctor present who talks a bit about breast cancer, how to be cared for, the steps to take, how to recognize it, all that kind of thing. So it's good to be there. It's also an opportunity for persons who attend to register for the walk run, and also to be able to enroll for the mammogram vouchers that we distribute.
We're speaking to Miss Liz Smith from the Lions Club of Trop Gardens. Maybe I'll just ask you when you're next, just gently, bring your mic just down one little bit. That's probably make it easier.
Sure.
I can see those eyes, as radiant as they are. But the notion, as you was talking about the mammogram voucher, and for those of us who have attended, just for information, have attended to be part of the supporting cast for family and friends, we've come away with a lot of information, but a recognition that in this, we're not alone.
Yes.
And then the financial and our other support, but also the awareness.
Yes.
Many would come out and, well, what's a mammogram? How does that work?
Yes.
And are unwilling to ask because, and this is only taken from the public meetings that have been so helpful, they feel like, it's a dumb question to ask, only to realize how many were happy that they asked because that person didn't have the courage.
That's right.
But then they get knowledge of what it is and how it's done, and that's invaluable. You can't put a price on that.
Yes, and it's so important that we conduct our regular checks.
Yes,
so there is an annual mammogram. And I say annual, but obviously that depends on age and what statistics have shown. But there's also the clinical breast exam. And this is required because you go to your doctor on a regular basis, maybe a quarterly or a half-yearly basis, and he conducts that clinical breast exam. And then there's a self-breast exam, which is something that we should be doing every month. So we set a date. The idea is that you set a particular day every month, and at that time is where you conduct your self-breast. I'm not going to show you how.
I was going to ask you.
I'll invite everyone to come out to the district awareness nights, and the doctors will show you.
I want to share this since you said that, and that the physician said to me, this would be good.
Yes.
She says she has shared this with her patients.
Yes.
Because it can be a bit daunting, the reticence on the part of the patient, who just because they're a little fearful won't do it. Get your partner, and it doesn't need to lead to anything else other than it builds intimacy and trust and gives you a sense of comfort.
Yes.
Have your partner do that with you, and I recognize the topic. My word intimacy does not mean sexual.
Yes, of course.
Right? It's a trust. It's a sense of, and she has said, do that with your partner. And by so doing, you get, God forbid, something else materializes, you already have immediately.
Yes.
Is that something that...
Okay. I certainly support that. I also encourage us to know ourselves, know our bodies, because it's amazing how when you're in that shower, how you may just feel something that wasn't there before. And if it's suspicious, we talk about in banking, we talk about SARS, suspicious activity. So if it is something that is suspicious, then keep a check on it.
Yes.
And if you notice that it is not going away or it is persistently, go to the doctor.
Okay. This wasn't planned in our discussion. We certainly. But that was the second thing she said. you now doing this self thing because you're being cognizant.
Right.
You're now being responsible. You getting your regular checks. You coming to the physician. She's helping you through this. But if your partner helps, then that thing that may be suspicious or may, to your mind, be, well, I think that's been there.
Yes.
The partner probably can keep a check
verify,
on it.
yes,
right?
yes, and say, honey, I didn't feel that before.
Yeah. And so, can I use the word pleading?
Yes.
I don't want to say I beseech thee, but, pleading that we do that for our own health and well-being, especially now with so much happening.
Yes.
And this is what, Lions Club Tropical Gardens in championing the breast cancer awareness has caused many to appreciate that, like any other illness, ailment, disease, or other, we now have a precedent. We also have something that encourages us, motivates us, reminds us. So happy to.
Sterling, we have been, this campaign is 27 years old.
That's well.
We have been doing something right. If in the early days we had, 80% of our population who were not aware of breast cancer and ended up in situations that were not lifelong.
Yeah.
And today we can celebrate the reverse. We actually have that as a success rate for us.
I share this a few times publicly, and I'll say it again because it just makes you realize when something's done respectfully and responsibly, and there's a level of consistency, but not just competence, but a sense of confidence and confidentiality in doing it. I remember that first meeting in West Bay at what was then the town hall. It's not a library.
Yes.
And I remember the audience recognizing a couple of things. I was the only man there, or male, because I was still relatively young. You say it was 27 years ago, right? And the women that were there wanted information, but the hesitancy and the way the presentation was given, it was almost as if it was a somber evening where it was a lecture and people. And yet, my recollection after is a little bit of fellowship and hushed tones, people were asking. I go back to the last one last year where it was almost a joyful celebration. Not only because of Amika's presence, right? But the way information is being asked, almost demanded, the way it's being not just explained but expounded upon, and people are coming away saying, well, wait a minute, now that goes with this. And the physicians there sharing very candidly. Different approach.
But it's the empowerment too, right? It's the empowerment. So there were the days when we didn't want it. It was almost the big C, and it was like, right? But now it is that we're in a place where individuals will ask the questions and we provide the resources for them. So whether it's physicians, whether it's oncologists, whether it's radiologists, whether it's health insurance providers, the whole gamut is there for individuals to know, okay, so this is where I need to go to get the information that's important to me.
Well, Ms. Liz, we know that every year, we look forward to helping in this latest way with the promotion, the education, the awareness, and we want to be mindful of your time. And as you reference, kicks off the month today, the 1st of October. By the way, Ray Banker celebrates his birthday, so we're going to say happy birthday to Ray. Don't do that often. But tomorrow evening in East End, so take us through the calendar as much as you want.
So tomorrow, so we have Breast Cancer Awareness Nights tomorrow in East End. The following next week, Wednesday, in North Side, in Boddentown on Thursday the 17th, and in West Bay on Monday the 14th, in Savannah on the 21st, and in Georgetown at the Lion Center, which is our big night. So if you miss any other night, make sure you catch Georgetown so that you can come there, get the information, get your mammogram vouchers, and anything that's needed to help support you. We have a breast cancer survivors, a survivors breakfast, and that's on the 9th of October this year. Our month of October is so filled, so it's on the 9th of November. That's by invitation only. So if you are a breast cancer survivor, please reach out. Please contact us at 936-1739. Give us your name so that we can include you on that invitation list. Sunday coming on the 6th of October is our church service and the launch for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's at St. George's Anglican Church, just down the street across from Kirk Supermarket, just down that road.
Off Court Roads, yeah.
That's right, Court Road. Service is at 9 o'clock. So I invite everybody to come out, wear something pink, stop by the pink shop and get something that you can wear and come out, but don't let the pink stop you. We have a spa day that was in Cayman. Sorry, that was at Blossoms.
Yes.
But we also have our walk run, as I mentioned before, which is on the 13th of October at 6 o'clock. And I encourage everyone, go to the pink shop, go online, register. We do have our registration forms that are available, that you can come to the District Awareness Nights, and then you'll be able to register for those as well. We also have our Dress Down Pink Day, and that's on the 25th of October. But I'm not going to say too much about that because we do have Dr. Rob, who is coming next week, and he will speak about those things. I don't want to steal his thunder.
Just a preview.
Yes.
Just a preview, teaser.
Yes.
I like the song, You Ain't Nothing. But this is where this information helps us, and it's shared in with such love.
Yes.
Right? And,
but we look forward, sorry to cut you, Sterling. We look forward to a service of healing on Sunday, because in addition to the regular church service, congregation, those who attend, will have an opportunity to pink that big pink ribbon, whether it's in memory of someone who has gone before us, whether it's in recognition of someone who is surviving, going through the treatment, or in celebration of life of those of us who have survived. And you never really get through the woods. You're always checking.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing. So we have that. We also have a section of the service that's a healing moment, where everybody, not just breast cancer survivors, but anybody who feels that, whether it's emotional, physical, mental healing, can come forward and as a group receive that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a powerful, and then after the service, it's going to be a powerful service. But after the service, there's going to be refreshments in the garden where individuals can get to speak with a doctor who will be present, where they can purchase items and where they can receive their vouchers, their mammogram vouchers. So we look forward to that on Sunday as well.
And I'm hoping that our community continues not only to value and champion health, but for those of us who can offer up support in any and every way possible. Because we're seeing, as you said, almost 3 decades in,
yes,
it has made a meaningful impact.
Yes.
We can come on public radio like this and have conversations. We can assemble, whether the church halls, the school halls, the town halls, or in the Lions Hall, and have these conversations.
Yes.
And that,
which is so critical.
Is so
critical. I remember last year a school called me and asked me to come and speak with the children. Powerful experience on both our sides.
Yeah.
The children were well informed, but they were searching.
They're receptive.
They're still very receptive.
Yeah.
And that is so important, because a lot of times we do not recognize that our children have mothers, have sisters, have aunts, have grandmothers, have, so many people within their families and close to them. And they want to know, what do I do? How can I help?
I think, if you may compliment what your fellow Lion, Miss Debbie, shared yesterday when she talked about childhood cancers.
Yes.
We don't realize how our children sometimes are feeling not only overwhelmed, but such angst, that in the absence of information, accurate, timely information, they may feel in a way that cause them who knows what despair they might feel. So having that information to them, we should appreciate that they're seeking, asking, and not only demanding, but they also need.
And including them in the caring process.
Yes, ma'am. This is why I like with it. So if anybody hasn't been or hasn't been in a long time, those public sessions, they do well.
Yes.
For the individual,
yes,
but also for the others who are in attendance. So honored to just offer up a few minutes to you and your club.
Sterling, it would be remiss of me to not thank the community,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Cayman community, the business housing, Kim Lund, Jerry Bovell, James Bovell, come to mind readily. Kim, we know the Brenda Tibbetts Lund Walk Run is in honor of his wife who was a victim of breast cancer.
Yeah.
And Kim continues to support that particular event, but the campaign on a whole. Breast Cancer Foundation grew out of that, and they continue to give. And there's so many other organizations who have just come on board and supported the cause. And we just can't be thankful enough. We're really grateful to the community for what they have done.
I'm reminded that it's like when we do our tithes or offerings, it's not so much what is done with the thing, is that we do it with a purpose or with conviction, with sincerity. So if we give out of our little or our lot, it's going to help. And this is, for you and all your fellow Lions and the other Service Club members, when we see the work that you do, we oftentimes forget that your mothers and husbands and fathers and wives and your children and students and your educators, but you're also, entrepreneurs and employees who are taken, from that role to give to us as a wider community. So thanks for, making that contribution.
Sterling, I'm going to leave you with this. As Lions, we say, where there is a need, there's a lion. And in that tone, I'm going to invite anybody at all who feels that they want to have a conversation, who feels that they want to be a part of this, to call us at 936-1739. Give us a call and let us know how we can involve you, engage you, support you in everything, give you that level of comfort in whatever it is that you're experiencing.
Well, thank you, Miss Liz. Always a pleasure. And I know many of us offer up a heartfelt thanks, for the education, for the opportunity. But thank you, for this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Radio Cayman, and listeners out there for listening to us.
So tomorrow in East End, we can kick it off?
Yes, please, at 7 o'clock at the East End United Church Hall.
All right, well, happy to continue to celebrate and promote as we provide the platform for you to educate.
We do have a Facebook page, so please go, if you're a Facebook, go on to our LCTG, Lions Club of Tropical Gardens, and follow us, and like whatever you see that we do,
There
so I
you go.
encourage, please.
I second that.
Thank
All
you
the best
so
to you,
much.
Miss Liz.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, continue to support and partner and promote and celebrate as we do our work together. Now, when we return, we have some guests scheduled. I will share with you, who it is, but you want to know, join us. I won't say no more than that, but we're talking about the port project, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Marketers, creatives, and visionaries, are you ready to be inspired? Join SIMPA's 11th annual marketing conference, The Connect Experience, under the theme Icons and Innovators, October 11th and 12th at Hotel Indigo. Discover the latest trends in marketing innovation, sharpen your skills in hands-on workshops, and connect with industry leaders who are changing the game. Plus, celebrate the best of Cayman's marketing and creative professionals at SIMPA's Awards Gala, honoring the icons and innovators in the field. Don't miss out. Secure your tickets online at simpa.ky/events.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman, the forum of the people. Join me, Art Connor, on For the Record on Radio Cayman. We put the tough questions to government officials, independents, and opposition members of our parliament. And from time to time, we revisit our storied past. Tune in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Reach out to us on 949-6990 or 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp us 925-3261 or email talktooc@gmail.com. Your voice matters.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And I invite you to always listen on radio, on our app, whether you are subscribing to our YouTube or Facebook channels. Go right ahead, get a chance to see and hear us. And as we get into our next discussion, special thanks to our first two segments as we focus on healthcare, in particular, from the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens. On their behalf, I invite you to be a part of their month-long celebrations as they bring you education and awareness for breast cancer. Well, in the studio, before we invite the other two fine gentlemen, if we might say, former parliamentarian, Mr. Leo Solomon. Buenas tardes, mi amigo. ¿Tú hablas hispano?
Bueno, todo está bien.
Todo bien, ¿no?
I didn't even know we would be speaking Spanish today.
No, man. We won't speak Spanish.
Yeah, there you go. They'll throw us out of here.
All right, anyway, let's leave that for now. Good to hear from you, man. Good to see you and this opportunity to not just get informed, but engage and maybe champion, challenge, question, answer. Who knows?
I guess my first question would be, how much time do we have today?
Well, I think no man knows the day nor the hour, and the Lord has ordained. But as the hour unfolds in this show, if it's 1:38 and we finish at 2:30, you do the math.
All right, there you go. Well, Dwayne, I want to thank you very much for having us to come on, onto the program. We would like to be able to discuss today, I think, a very important issue, and that's the issue about cruise tourism. Yeah. And we are here representing ACT, ACT, and again, that is the Association for the Advancement of Cruise Tourism. And I believe that there's a myriad of different opinions that circulate within the community. We have many different views, and I think that one of the advantages of the panel here today is the fact that none of us per se is directly benefiting from cruise tourism. And I think that offers a lot of objectivity in this particular composition. In no particular order, I'd like to introduce Mr. Tim Adam, and of course he's welcome to say a few words as well, of course, but I think most persons would know Tim from his role in Cayman Wireless, a very big institution, and he was the CEO there for at least about 10 years, I think, also in the Eastern Caribbean as well.
For a couple of years.
And then it went on from there. He also served his country again by working in the civil service for 12 years as the CEO of Turtle Central. So I think, again, Tim brings a wealth of knowledge, particularly when it comes to business, and of course, that includes government. And then, of course, last but by no means least, we have Joy. And Joy has been, I think it was 20 plus years in the police.
That's correct.
And then he was also on the footwork, if you like, at the port, and also served 3 years as the director there. So again, Joy brings, I think, a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the specifics about the port. And as we talk about the piers and the environment, I think he can lend a lot.
Yep, I spent 14 years managing crews and security before spending three and a half years as acting port director.
Okay.
So I understand it quite well.
Yeah.
Right.
And as you do share the idea of perhaps an objective conversation, I welcome, a discussion that informs, educates, as I say, challenges the status quo, but also champions it. And maybe at some point we can find a space where it's not just about unifying our actions, it's about respecting and understanding so that thing that transpires actually benefits us.
Yeah. Well, I hope by the end of the day that the listening public will have such clarity that even those who oppose it will say yes. We're going to vote yes. Yeah.
Right. So let me then ask, because whether it was said, inferred, or I just heard it, this is not politics, this is not political. To me, everything is. There are two things on a personal level that is in everything: economics and politics. Whether it's capital P, elected P, small p, you go to your church, you go to your house, your spouse, you go to your school, your PTA. Politics is in everything because it touches and concern. Why I say that is that whether we try to be objective and impartial, I think we need to be timely and accurate. And to you first, Mr. Solomon, from our perspective, we have a referendum that we were told by the tourism minister we could come for the end of the year. Minister said, well, yes, good idea, but not then because of cost, timing, and logistics. Now, seemingly, it's going to come simultaneously with the general election. Whether you wish to weigh in as to whether that's having a referendum is a good thing or not, how it should be worded if we do, and the timing.
Sure, and let me first of all start by addressing your issue about, or your comment about politics, right? And again, that tends to kind of carry this sort of negative connotation, but in fact, I don't really view it as negative.
As well,
And again, from the politics, I see it as a political science, which is the understanding and the running of a country. There's nothing, as far as I'm concerned, that should bring it into a negative light. But if you want to talk about politics, I think one of the things to highlight here is that this is not even what one would consider to be a bipartisan issue. This is an issue that I think for at least the last decade plus, every single government that has got in office wants to see a pier. Now think about that. And let's just pretend that the politicians are sending you a silent message. And bear in mind that when you get the government talking politics, you have a majority, which won by the majority vote, and you have the opposition, the minority vote. Whether they are majority or whether they are minority vote, every government has and continues to support and suggest that we need a pier. And I lay that out to say that that in itself should be telling the people of the country that there is something very crucial about these piers. And I'm hoping that amongst other things, when we have this discussion today, that persons will be able to walk away understanding that cruise tourism impacts and affects the lives of every single person in this country. Many of us might just kind of drive through town and we might say, oh, I have to bypass that because I need to go somewhere else and this doesn't really apply to me. I want to say that there's a person out there, for example, that might be selling tires, and he or she might sit and think, well, I don't really see how I can disconnect. But there's probably taxi drivers, and the list goes on, that's buying those tires. So when you look at it, and again, this is sort of the things that Tim will also speak to when he talks about that primary, secondary, and tertiary spend that goes into the economy. But I want people to be able to walk away knowing that it is impacting us financially as well. On the issue about the referendum, ACT supports the call for the referendum. And personally, and as an organization, we also support the minister in terms of trying to keep things a little bit broad. Now, I know that there are objections to that, but I think that when he states that, we have a car and we want to decide whether we want wheels on it, I think a broad statement is something very, very important, because I think a lot of times the more specifics that you get, the more reasons everybody have the reason to object to it. And I think that you want to start broad, and as you get broad, if you can at least get persons out there saying we want cruise tourism and we believe that we need piers in order to carry that forward, I think if we can get past that hurdle, then we can move on to the next step, and that is to get into the specifics of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I can just add to that, our economy has a couple of sectors that employ the vast majority of people in. But I want you to look at the cruise sector, and have you considered who the cruise industry employs more of than any other sector other than financial services? I mean, not talking about that, but on the tourism side. Look at the taxi drivers. Who do you see employed doing that? Who do you see? Caymanians. You have to be a Caymanian to get a taxi license. Okay?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
So regardless of where you may have originated from, you have to be a Caymanian to get a taxi license. Look at the water sports operators. Where are they from? The vast majority of them are indigenous Caymanians. And that is what the cruise industry supports more. And during our conversation today, we will let you know that the wage factor on the cruise side for Cayman is far higher than countries that have an even higher income or cruise spend than we do, because they got more tourists. But the wages, the amount of money that goes to wages for Cayman is higher than the vast majority of them.
And if I may, and I love that pink shirt too,
Hey, thank you, man.
You're a real man to wear.
Hey,
Joy, you've been in a very unique position. None of us in the room have had the opportunity, the privilege to serve as a director of the port. And I think that one of the questions that persons would naturally have is, do I need a pier? Speak from the port director's position in terms of cargo and cruise tourism.
Well, for the port itself, the equipment that we use to discharge cargo with, the money that will finance that will come from cruise, because cargo doesn't collect enough fees on its own to be able to finance the equipment.
Right. I at some point may go on, Mr. Woods.
And then for the taxi operators and the water sports operators, I want you to also look at a Caymanian leaving school with just a high school education. He may not be academically inclined, so he doesn't go on to get, a degree to be able to go and work in a financial institution. But he can become an entrepreneur and work in the cruise industry and make $400 to $500 a day, sometimes up to $900 a day, off of the cruise industry in one day. And if we had the piers where we would have consistently had 4 ships a day for 5 or 6 days a week, do the math. 5 times 500 is 2,500 for a week. Putting them over 10 grand for the month with just a high school education, and it's Caymanians. And that's why I am passionate about it, because I have seen how the cruise industry has benefited just the ordinary Caymanian being able to make a success out of his life without a degree.
I want to. So, Adam, if you want to jump in.
And in that respect, even the macroscopic studies that have been done by the Economics and Statistics Office, I don't know if you've seen the latest one, which is the report, I'll get you the exact title, Occupational Wage Survey 2023. And you start to look in that at what's going on with wages.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the numbers. You can start with basic earnings, which we know has relevance and concern, because basic earnings tend to be the thing that, let's say, if you're looking for a loan or one of those things, that's what they tend to look at. But let's go on beyond that. Let's look at total compensation. And the figures for total compensation are very revealing.
Mm-hmm.
It's broken down into industry sectors or activity sectors, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to guess which of the activity sectors has the lowest monthly compensation rate?
Yeah.
Total compensation.
Yeah. We need a guess. You got statistics?
It's accommodation,
Yeah.
right? Accommodations is restaurants, mobile and food services,
Mhm.
and then accommodations. Those two, as you can imagine, are heavily biased towards serving stayover visitors.
Mhm.
Compared against how many crews they get. Accommodation get none of them
Mhm.
until they come back to stay on the island.
Right.
And let's look at the numbers. Restaurant mobile food service activities is $2,733 a month. Accommodation $3,024. But flip that and talk about the industry sectors that Joey was just talking about. Mr. Woods was saying there that, hey, where Caymanians are employed are in the transport sector.
Right.
Or in the water sports and recreation sector. So transport and storage is $5,408. You see the difference?
Yeah.
And recreation similar is $4,648 a month on average. You start, and I'm looking at the 75th percentile. I'm not just picking a number out of one of them. I'm picking the 75th percentile, and those are the numbers we're looking at. So the hard numbers bear out these very things that he can see clearly, anecdotally, even before the numbers were created and analyzed.
Yeah. And one other thing that I can add on it is this. Back in 2006, when Freedom of the Seas came out, that was the largest ship. It was probably 1,000 passengers or more than the other big ones at that time that we considered big. And when you're moving 200 at a time on the tender, if you open 2 shell doors, that's 400 every half an hour, 800 in an hour. But we can make the math simple by saying we're going to move 1,000 an hour. You got 400 to move. That's 4.5 hours. You got 8 hours in port. Then what it does, that crunches in on people's ability to be able to enjoy excursions. Because if you're the last one to get off at 11 o'clock in the day, you don't have much time to do an excursion before you need to try to get back on.
Right.
And it'll take another 4 hours to put them back on.
And this is where we want to ask in relation to that. But go ahead, Joey.
Right. So when the cruise lines, Royal Caribbean in particular, said to us, look, our ships are going to get bigger. This is just the beginning. The Oasis will be 600 passengers. And when they did the math, and they say, it's nearly impossible to get that many people off to be able to enjoy the time on the island, to do the things they want to do, and then get them back on in the time that we have allotted for port call.
Right. I may share an ask something, but first, to that point, so tendering equates to this amount of time, get on and off the ship. Would a port where the vessel pulls up, anchors, throws on his bow line, people get off, is that faster?
Much faster.
Okay.
And
there was a report that,
they out of each shell door, they will have 2 streams of traffic.
Okay.
2 streams of traffic coming out. So that is twice as fast as being able to tender.
So 200 or 400 on the tender, if this port is there, the dock.
Well, they just
how much more? How much faster? Because there was a report that said it wasn't faster. And I don't want to get into the ifs and the buts and the so on just yet, right?
Look, when you if you
if you were getting 800 an hour,
you
will then get 1,600 an hour if not more.
So that report wasn't as accurate then, is what you're saying?
Well, I don't know which report it was, but I can tell you it wasn't accurate.
You have to look at for whom that report was prepared and by whom was it prepared.
Like with any report?
Yes.
I don't know.
So
I don't know
look
who
a little
prepared
deeper
it.
at that, because, I mean, we did an analysis back in, I guess, somewhere between 2015 and 2018 or 19 when we were looking at all these things. And to give an example, if you could have cruise berthing, the number of shore excursions you could have would multiply. The reason being, you can have 2 departures for the same tour, let's say a 3-hour tour, right? That presently you can only do one of those in a day. You can have one of those departures in a day. So a guest that's on the island wants to do a bunch of things. They have to pick and choose, and they have to end up making just one choice. Whereas if you could have cruise berthing, the speed at which people can come off and go back on, and the speed at which not only the on and off takes place, but they have to concern themselves with allowing for all of the variables if you have a tender versus if you have a port. You have much more certainty as to exactly how long it's going to take.
So that we that you reference in that report, that's we who act, or we the government?
No, that was back when you remember Baird did a lot of studies.
Yeah.
And then extrapolating from that, we did the numbers. And as in Cayman Turtle Center is a prime example because of the time I was CEO there. And, we need to pay close attention to it because of how important that the cruise industry is to not just the taxi and tour operators in terms of the buses and the boats, but attractions and so many other things that are, if you like, fed by cruise tourism.
And Rena, if you don't mind, I'd like to say that I think that the numbers will bear out the common sense, right? I've had the unique opportunity to actually work on the tenders while I was in school. Grew up with some humble beginnings, and it was actually one of the ways that you made sure you paid for the lunch, right? But going on those tenders, and let me just share an honest experience. I remember being in one of the tenders, and I'm not sure whether it was a big wave that moved the tender or whether it was a driver who prematurely moved. But I remember that the cable broke and flew straight across from the back of the tender and hit one of the poles in the front. It is only the mercy of God, first of all, that somebody did not get hit by that.
I remember that.
If someone had got hit by that, trust me, it would have been death or somebody praying for it, right? And there is naturally a significant period of time just in terms of being careful, getting onto a tender and getting off of the tender. So there's clearly a shorter period of time if a person can actually come straight off of the ship onto the port. And where that is important is if you look at the numbers now, when someone is saying that between $100 and $150 per head in terms of the spend, that number is going to increase when you can sit and say you have 2 or 3 hours more to spend on the island. And one last point before you dive in, no pun intended, is the fact that cruise tourism, like I said, to use Feynman's analogy, the economy is like all of us sitting in a pool. You can't move without somebody feeling the effects of that ripple. If it's a big splash and you're close, well, you get more wave, but everybody feels the ripple. If you can give more time for those cruise tourists to actually spend on the island as opposed to standing up there like cattle trying to get back onto the ship, they can go north side, they can go to east end, they can go wherever, all the different parts of the island, spend more time, get a very good impression of our country, and at the same time spend more money.
So you want to improve the quality of the visitor experience, right?
Absolutely.
And why I shared in everything there's economics and politics. Right? You just looked at Feynman as an example. That rogue wave or otherwise, any vessel, including a large cruise ship, and whether they're on the bow thrusters or otherwise, if that lead line comes off, that can cause a problem. It has happened. Anybody been around boats can see that. Not just the unskilled, incompetent, inattentive nature of the deckhand. That happens. So whether it's the tender, the cruise ship, or the luxury yacht. But why I say that, as you come back from the break, let's look at some of the numbers. And I think, Mr. Adam, you referenced earlier that report. But noted Caribbean economist Ms. Marla Dukran, in the report for CEC, showed a breakdown of things, and her analysis indicates perhaps the benefit or less otherwise of thing.
And let's touch on that.
Yeah, because
when we come back, because that is again coming into the concerns we have for the national economy.
And I'll just say one thing
And I'd
before.
love to show you that.
We'll just say one thing before we go to the break. I remember that this discussion, and it's very important, like I said before, consecutive governments have been working to push for a pier, and the arguments have always been made that the cruise lines are going to go away. And persons have said that that's a fallacy. If you start looking at the businesses that are now closing downtown, I think we're at the point now that we can say they were in fact correct.
But you see, at first they said, oh, that's just one ship.
Yeah.
But between 2006 and now, 14 ships have been built by one line alone.
Mm-hmm.
But
others are following suit. Plus, that line has 4 more pending.
But Joey, and this is where, for the public, we were hoping to coordinate our schedules, I offered up the entire show, so we'll have the hour, we'll see how much we can take as a license. But the notion is sometimes in a true market economy, businesses in a particular sector may find it more profitable to move from here to there or remain. But in the Cayman economy, the hot money aside, we understand that the economy is a bit different from other jurisdictions, right? So a business opening and closing may facilitate other endeavors.
Let me explain it to you. Having worked at the port and looked downtown on the days with no cruise ships, you barely see a trickle. People say, oh, stayover passengers or stayover tourists will come and support their shops because there's no tourists. Yeah. There is nobody. It's like a ghost town because they still don't come. Okay? On the day when you have cruise ships in, the town is bustling. It's bustling. But to explain the economics of it, people say stayover spends more in the economy. But the vast majority of that is spent either on a hotel or airfare. And then there's a little trickle-down effect. And by the time it really reaches the workers, you get minimum wage. Okay? By the time it reaches the workers, you get minimum wage. But when a cruise ship passenger come off, he only got 8 hours here. He already know what he wants to do. And guess who he spend it with? The ordinary Caymanian that I was telling you about. He put money directly in his pocket immediately.
Joey, before Mr. Tim jumps in, that question, right, whether, we hear, just use this, the North operators. The cruise ship gets $100 for the thing. The guy on the boat gets $10.
No. Let me. That's a perception and it's wrong. Okay?
You sure now?
Yes, I'm sure. What happens now is this: there's so many methods on it, right? Those same operators sell online. They book online and sell their price. The same cruise passengers will go online and buy it. You also have them selling it on shore for their price. And you have them selling it on the ship through many different options. Either they have offered it to the cruise lines at their price.
All right.
Okay. 1 minute. I'm not finished explaining it yet.
I'm happy you talking.
Right. I'm not finished explaining it yet. And you got the Land and Sea Co-op the government set up for the independence because the cruise line books for volume, and sometimes a one-man show can't fill it, but they can do it through the co-op where multiple independents can take the load.
All right.
Okay.
Let's pick up. Hold on. Let's pick up. We come back so that we can do this. But pre-bookings, Tim, you.
No. Let me just finish this first. So, while I got that train of thought going. So when the ship sells it, when the ship sells it on board, they put their own markup on it. You've already sent your price. This is what I will sell this for. They put their markup. They double it. Okay. So it's not like they say, I want to sell for $100 and I only give you 10. You've gone to them, it's a free trade thing. You've gone to them and say, I will give you this tour for this amount. And that's how they do it.
Interesting, boy. And again, segments within segments. But let's take the break. No, Susan. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Join the Cayman Islands National Museum for their thatch rope making workshop on Saturday, October 26th. Non-members can join for $65 CI, while members can enjoy a discounted rate. Reserve your spot today by visiting museum.ky or calling 949-8368. In international news, hundreds of people remain missing after catastrophic flooding decimated towns, destroyed roads, and cut off power for more than 1 million homes in the U.S.'s southeast. The The death toll has continued to rise since Hurricane Helene, which was later downgraded to a tropical storm, tore across the region. As of Tuesday, 135 people had been confirmed dead across 6 states, a figure that is expected to grow. At least 40 of those dead were in the west of North Carolina, where 300 roads remain closed, hampering recovery operations, as well as the delivery of much-needed food and water. 3 children have been injured, one of them seriously, in a knife attack at a daycare center in the Swiss city of Zurich. A spokesperson for the city's police force said a 23-year-old Chinese man attacked a group of children who were being led to the center by a staff member. A daycare worker and a bystander managed to overpower the attacker and restrain him until police arrived. A 5-year-old boy suffered serious injuries and was being treated in hospital. 2 other 5-year-old boys were treated at the scene for less severe injuries. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
You can now renew your driver's license or motor vehicle license online, and you don't need an ESID number. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Visit www.dvdl.gov.ky.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
The Praise Ministry Award Show, Cayman Islands edition, will take place on Saturday, November 2nd at the All Nation Ballroom, 23A Woodlake Drive, Georgetown. Red carpet at 6 p.m. Start time 6:30 p.m. Early bird tickets $35 until September 30th. $40 pre-sold and $45 at the door. Get your tickets from Famous Restaurant or call 322-3183. The Praise Ministry Award Show, Cayman Islands edition, Saturday, November 2nd.
Annually, the Family Resource Center leads the anti-bullying campaign Stood Up throughout the month of October. This year, the campaign's theme is #CyberKindnessKY. Pause before you post, and is aimed at raising awareness of the harmful impact of cyberbullying behavior and educating children on responding safely and empowering parents with effective parenting strategies to intervene against cyberbullying and victimization. Teens ages 15 to 18 years old and parents are invited to the Teen and Parent Safety Training being held on October 12th from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Stay informed and keep young people safe. Registration is required. Email frc@gov.ky for more details on this and their other Stood Up campaign details.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us, and hoping that I can publicly invite our fine guests to return, either individual or collective or other members of ACT, Association for Advancement of Cruise Tourism. Elio Solomon, Tim Adam, and Joseph Woods are our guests. We'll take calls in a bit. Gentlemen, I know it's challenging to sometimes align our schedules, and even though in the abbreviated hour that we had, hopefully we can return again and ask, answer, and, invite more discussion.
We'll take you up on that.
Yeah, please do. And of course, that offer also exists for any and all. All right, we went to the break. We had some thoughts. We come back. I got some further thoughts.
So right before we broke, we were talking about the issues with the downturn in cruise tourism, the issues that it impacts us had on certain businesses and so on. I want you to maybe cast your mind into a slightly different mode. Suppose in financial services, in the financial services industry, suppose that in the first 7 months of 2024, they had 42% less customers and less activity and less funds and all these things than they had in 2018. Do you believe there might be some closures and some hardship? Suppose in the stay-over market, they had 42% less guests from January to July 2024 than they had in 2018. Do you believe that would be harmful to them and harmful to the people working for them and harmful to their prospects and maybe some of them shutting down? That is exactly what has happened in cruise tourism. These data are available off of the Department of Tourism website. You look at visitor arrival statistics, the ones that come by cruise, and you compare against the year 2018, which is when Brea did their last study was for the 2018 cruise year, right? That is exactly what has happened. We have 42% less people coming to Cayman on cruise than we had in 2018. If you translate that into any other industry, I think that's something we should be concerned about.
All right. I want to share with us, and I guess to our listeners, we're not going to take the calls just yet, but a couple of notes that have come through from people who are making sure I have it. I want to read first what is being shared here, and then, again, discussion. This one says, in 2016, we had 1.788 million people, not 1.9 million cruise passengers. In 2017, we had 1.823 million, not 1.9. This one asks you your perspective on this. If you'd accept that the failed and expensive Georgetown revitalization project has hindered or impacted businesses in Georgetown, and seemingly there's no given timeline for it to end that the public is aware of. Now, it was also alleged by the panelists that 50% has been a 50% drop in passenger numbers. If you got 1.9 and 50%, that mathematically is 950. So, does that mean that Cayman has had north of 1.2 million passengers last year? Is somebody being economical with the truth or struggling with basic math?
You want to just pick up on the numbers then? Would that be helpful?
Let's start with that, yeah.
So 2017, January to December, 1,728, 440, 1,728, 444. In 2018, 1,921 and 57. 1,921,057 passengers. In 2019, 1,831,011 passengers.
Mhm.
In 2023, 1,270,053 passengers.
Mhm.
And in 2024, up to year to date, when I pull down the data, was up to July, was 694,888. That 42% I gave you was looking at the first 7 months, January to July of 2024 versus January to July of 2018. The numbers are there.
Okay.
They're not my numbers.
And you can
That's
go,
just a reality.
And you can go to
and this-
caymanport.com
Uh-huh.
and go to statistics and get every one of those figures.
All right. In sharing this other series of comments, Joey, through you as former acting port director, many people, just for clarity, have said, the ships come in, the manifest, there's 100,000 people. This argument, say, government charges X. 2 questions. Confirm what that number is per passenger, and if it's the amount of money that the government receives from the cruise passengers, is it on the manifest or is it on the number that actually get off the ship?
It's on the manifest. Government gets $6 per person hay tax for each cruise passenger. That's government.
Yeah.
Port gets $3 US per passenger. Well, it used to be 3. This year they raised it to 5.75 CI. So it was like whatever $3 came to 3, it's 24,
Yeah.
2.4, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was for ages. And then this year the port raised it to 5.75
US or CI?
CI.
Okay.
For their fee. But government fee is $6. Plus, if the ship calls all year round, they pay, I think it's $1.60 for the Environmental Protection Fund. And if it's a ship that calls seasonally, they pay $3.20 for the Environmental Protection
Per
Fund.
passenger?
Per passenger.
Okay.
And it's on the manifested passengers, not who comes off. We don't keep track of who come off.
All right.
But
Now,
I think also valid, right, in the full transparency, is to identify how much money is actually spent for tendering too.
Well, on tendering, I think it's like $5.25 per passenger, but that's not ours.
Right.
Port don't get that. Government don't get that.
Right.
Okay. But in the scheme of fees,
but if tomorrow you did have the piers, you don't need the tendering. That's $5.25 that can go to the government, right?
Well, that would go to
the
your
port
project. Yeah.
Well, it could go to help finance it.
Exactly.
However it is.
Are you saying that because then, from the cruise perspective, that's funds they've already allocated in their budget for expenditure
Correct.
to move it? They may or will they be required to just keep spending it, but just redirect it from the tenders to the port project?
I want to get back to the question that you were raising in terms of those figures. I mean, I understand the figures, but what specifically do you understand the author of that to be trying to get at?
It is
in terms of the failed revitalization program, etc.
Well, I read it as it was sent. I leave it to you.
But that's the revitalization program is not part of
this
program.
I say that because I don't want us to necessarily get too far off the track, and that is a matter of understanding that cruise tourism is crucial. It is benefiting Caymanians. It is benefiting every single person in the country. And I think it is important to attach some lives to this. And I think Tim started doing that. Sorry, making the music work together. Sure. Can't help it.
Yeah, but Mike's more handsome guy. Come on.
I don't want.
I'm not asking you. Okay, just.
Oh, okay. All right.
He said that Tim was.
All right, don't pick up on that, right?
Both Tim and I.
Pink.
Both Tim and I have actually had the opportunity to be involved a little bit with the Cayman Turtle Center. He was there as CEO. I'm there now as chairman of the board. But when you look at it, I think we have approximately 104 members of staff now, if my memory serves me right. I want you to understand that you're pretty much looking at 99% of them being Caymanians. And that institution is highly, to put it nicely, dependent on cruise tourism. At least 60%, somewhere in those numbers there, is cruise tourists that actually enters that institution. So when you talk about losing cruise tourism, I want persons to understand you have to attach lives to this. One of the things I've heard persons saying is, let's have them retool. Well, even if the country did decide that they don't want to get into cruise tourism and you want to retool, you don't take one institution like the Turtle Center and retool it overnight. And you don't take whether it's the taxi drivers or the tour drivers and all of the other excursions and stuff, you don't retool that overnight.
Yeah.
It takes time. And I really believe, honestly, I think we have a vociferous minority of persons that are in objection, perhaps to the pier. But I honestly believe
But
that,
you know, sorry,
that the large
we also have a vociferous minority of people who are in favor of the pair. I mean, your statement, how do you justify
Majority,
that?
sir.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Majority.
No, he said, yeah.
Well, again, I can give it to you.
Yeah.
You're talking about pretty much every elected government for the last several decades that are in favor of cruise tourism, and they are being voted. Hold on. If one thing we understand a politician is to say, I want to do something that is going to support my numbers to get me elected, and you're asking me to perhaps define between one vociferous minority and the other, I am saying to you, if nothing else, you can look at the fact that every government that gets in there has clearly understood the crucial and the vital situation that we are in to have cruise tourism. And this is why they're doing it. Now, there are many persons who can say, listen, I'd like you to grow a pier and build a pier. Just get on with it. Don't hold a referendum. We can make those sort of complaints. But I had a lawyer that stood in the court one day and he said, when the turtle comes from the river bottom and tells you that it's cold, it's cold. But I'm going to tell you, when you can see every government for the last several decades, or at least several terms, all coming forward and saying we need a pier, I think he's telling you something. I think he's telling you it is very, very important to our economy.
Joey?
Yeah. Let me see how I can simplify this.
Don't, man.
As
Tim is smart. He can.
no. I talk about his side. I talk about simplifying this thing about how important the cruise piers are. If you were a visitor coming here for 7 days, how many times would you visit Turtle Farm?
Okay, by extrapolation, you live in Cayman for 10 years. How many times have you visited?
Exactly. Okay.
All right.
But if you were coming as a visitor, it might be on your bucket list. You go one time, right? But that's one time in 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So a cruise passenger is on his bucket list, but he's only here for a day. So guess where he goes?
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the Turtle Farm. And the next day another ship come, and he's going to go to Turtle Farm. So if you were just mainly going on stayover, and let's say you got 400,000 stayover people coming, staying a week at a time, and one person is going to go. Well, let's say 10% of them are going to go. That would be 40,000 stayover visitors going to Turtle Farm. How much do they charge for entrance fee?
So $10, I think.
$10?
Is that what it is, Mr. Tim?
No.
How much is the entrance fee?
No. Wait a minute. Now, we have to distinguish between what the very heavily discounted rate is for admission for a visitor. For a resident. Sorry, a resident coming in versus what is charged a visitor.
How much?
How much a visitor?
It's typical if in the 40s.
Okay, yeah.
$40 per visitor?
Yeah.
Versus a 10. Oh, okay.
In the 40 US. I think it's 45 US if I'm not mistaken. It's been a couple of years, but I think around $45 US for a visitor to come in.
I mean,
and so, you know, that's not what we're trying to get at here. What we're trying to get at here is the point that for every time a cruise ship pulls in, they're here for 1 day. The passenger has choices to make, and they will patronize these things once during their visit, whereas a stayover visitor is here for a week, and they may patronize that same thing one time during their stay.
But they may also go to Singapore City, Bar, they may go up to
they can do different things.
Right.
But let's talk about jobs. Right?
Just hold your point. I want to show him the difference now. So the let's say 10% of that 400,000 stayover for the year goes to Turtle Farm. That's $1.8 million for Turtle Farm from them. And let's say 10% of the 2 million cruise passengers go to Turtle Farm. That comes out to $9 million they've made off a cruise versus 1.8 off a stayover.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to get across.
I hear the numbers, right? But sorry, just to clarify. If what you say is correct based on just an extrapolation of the numbers, and then you now take the actual, Turtle Farms produces its financial reports, we don't see the correlation, right? We see the deficit, we see subsidies, so we know. I'm hearing you.
Let me help you quickly with that correlation, right? And I'm thinking back to numbers that would have been
2019,
2018. I think 2018 was the last annual report published, and we're going to talk broad numbers.
Just
now.
Broad numbers, yeah.
Let's say So we look at, let's say you pick up the 2018 reports, published, available on the web, and you look at where does the Turtle Centre revenues come from. Roughly 90% are from the tourist attraction line of business. It's a conservation project, so a good 80% of your time, your effort, your energy is all put into conservation, but that doesn't earn you revenue.
Yeah.
What earns you the revenue is the tourist attraction line of business, okay? Now that attraction is dependent on basically 3 sources of visitors. Our guests come from residents and visiting friends and family. Let's put those together in one. And then stayover visitors and cruise visitors. Cruise visitors will comprise roughly 60% back in 2018 of the guests that come to Turtle Centre. Stayover visitors was less than half that amount. Okay? You take and extrapolate that up. 60% times that 90%. More than half of the revenues from all the sources of Turtle Centre is dependent upon cruise tourism. And you take and remove 42% of those. You see the problem? It's not only the Hard Rocks and these other places that closed that are experiencing this. This is being replicated in attractions that still are operating, in North Sound operators that are still trying to operate and make a living out of it, and to people doing tours, 42% of a drop.
Yeah.
When Brea, the Business Research and Economic Association, did the study, the last one published is for the 2018 cruise year. Another one soon to be published, God willing, at the cruise conference this month, actually. We should hear it. But those data that they collected then for the Cayman Islands, I'm going to read from it. The direct cruise tourism expenditures generated a total employment contribution of 4,622 jobs. Direct. Okay? You're an economist. You've got direct, you've got indirect, and you've got induced. They're just talking about direct. 4,622 jobs. By the time you add the indirect, in other words, they're patronizing a restaurant. The restaurant has to buy supplies from someone else, right?
Yeah.
That's your indirect. And then the induced is things like, okay, the employees of that restaurant go out and spend within the local economy. It's a huge economic impact.
Yeah.
And then flip that over now. What happens when you lose those passengers? What's going to happen when you lose 42% of those over 4,000 jobs?
Yeah, and this is where I welcome such strong, personalities, intellects like yours, right? So I want to ask maybe to this Brea, in terms of what Mr. Tim had said earlier, in terms of who's writing the report.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, how objective and impartial do you think Brea would be relative to its report on cruise tourism?
Well, they would have to be. These are a set of economists that they're staking their entire professional reputation on doing a fair analysis. And they don't just study Cayman. They study every economy that's a destination in the Caribbean.
And the report is commissioned by whom?
It's paid for basically by the members of FCCA, because FCCA commissioned it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the reason why, and I understand that, and again, sometimes, what does it say in the law, Mr. Solomon? Justice must only be seen to be done, right?
Yeah.
So
must just not be done, but be seen to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
But you understand something. If Brea goes and falsifies reports, right, and the destination economists say, you know what, we found that they falsified reports, they are out for a long walk on a short dock, and they have been in this business for years.
Right.
And I will tell you right now, I'm not going to disrespect them by even hinting that these are professionals that are doing what they do. That's their business.
So for
and
people who are listening would understand.
Put the numbers out, they like, whether we like them or don't like them.
And nobody's suggesting
those
that,
are the data. Yeah, those are the data.
And I say that recognizing my seem sort of respect for Ms. Malanukran, who has published similar reports on other destinations, so that objectivity, that impartiality.
And even if you've looked at some of the exit surveys, I remember doing this years ago, the exit surveys that would have been run by the tourism department. A lot of those results come to support the same things with the Brea report. I don't think we need to question the objectivity of it.
Yeah. So remember now where Ms. Dukaran, what she analyzed. She analyzed tourism.
Yeah, and
she didn't specify. She didn't specify which sector.
No. Right.
And look at what the problem was. The problem was it was a very leaky element of our economy. Why? Well, you go into a supermarket and you look at the money transfer line. I'm not calling the company's names.
Yeah.
Right? And who's comprising those people where that economy was leaking out that she talked about how much of it is sent overseas.
Right.
Which industry is employing all those people? Is it the cruise industry or the stayover industry? You got to look a little deeper.
And even, so forget the matter about them sending whatever they got to send out, to support their families.
Yeah.
I mean, Caymanians did that when they went to sea.
Of course.
And they sent it back.
We fully understand that.
They are being paid minimum wage, $6 an hour. Some of them get less if they're getting gratuities.
Right.
Versus the people in the cruise industry, they ain't getting no $6 an hour. They're making good money.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, as I did at the outset, and as Mr. Joey had indicated, we want you to come back on others as well. But I want to share a couple of things. Crave Ms. Susan just for a few minutes, and then this is part one of N discussions to come.
Thank
so
you.
let me give you the good, bad, and ugly as relayed verbatim, right?
Sure.
You ready for your seatbelt, Mr. Woods?
Yes.
All right. And I will take them in only in the order in which they came in, right? This messenger writes this. I don't think that people are against cruise tourism.
Thank God.
I believe the pushback is against mega cruise ships, all right? Now, this is Antigua or one of those islands that talked about, this is what we are.
Mm-hmm.
This one right and says it this way. Now, come on, I want to come back down. Susan, where did I go with this? Okay. Says, good afternoon. Are your guests, question on who, to your guest questions on who we've seen as taxi drivers, is a trick question. As the majority of taxi drivers, in my opinion, are non-Caymanian. Maybe they're quote-unquote new Caymanian. I also think that the majority may be the same for the water sports industry as well. And I want to read it. This one, in light of that, this listener says, I support the concept, but half truths being shared by guests are off-putting. Most taxi drivers are not native Caymanians. The tour bus drivers are 90% on work permits, which should not even be the case, right? The ships do not want to stay in Cayman longer, as their on-ship bars and casinos must close in port. Is that still the case? That's been changed, right?
No. I don't know about the whether the bars and stuff can stay open.
So this one,
but what I'm saying is that really has no bearing whatsoever, because during the time I worked at the port, there were occasions when I did surveys to determine how many people came up, and I can tell you it consistently was between 95 and 97% of the people that came off. They don't care about the gambling on the ship. They do that in the night. They don't.
Yeah, and wait 1 second now. Hold on 1 second now. Because somebody accused me of a half-truth as a serious thing. Let me deal with that same thing we were talking about, the ship and the longer. Here's what the longer is.
Oh.
The longer is because it's so much quicker to get off the ship and so much quicker to get back on the ship. It is the passenger's ability to be in the Cayman Islands, enjoying what we have to offer, loving the Cayman kind, being well treated, right? That's what's the longer, right? Even if the cruise ship didn't alter their schedule,
and this is
their time available.
Yes, and that's the point that
to do these things in Cayman.
And I think this is why we want you to come out.
Is what's longer,
because this is where we recognize how easy this become an emotive issue, right?
Yeah.
Without any prompting on my part, who is quite soft-spoken and gentle, I could promote and provoke you. It's not the intent, but sharing this, right, is where I think back to my earlier comment, politics and economics and everything. Let me continue reading this for us.
And that this is an important point.
Yeah, it all
we
is.
believe that the more that we are able to help people to see facts and cross, these data I'm reading to you are publicly available.
Yes,
They're things I downloaded off the web.
Just one
that are official reports or scientific research or Department of Tourism data or whatever, right?
Right.
These are hard facts, and they may be hard facts to hear, but they're the realities that we're living in, and the extent to which we can help people to understand these realities is the extent to which people can make a better informed decision when the time comes to vote in a referendum.
Yeah. In the traffic regulations, you have to be a Caymanian to get a taxi license. tour is a little different.
Yeah.
You have to be a Caymanian to have a Caymanian business. But as a Caymanian, you can open a tour company. And then you can source your drivers wherever you want, just like the public buses.
Right.
You can source your drivers from wherever, and you're going through the permit process. But not for the taxi. A taxi, you can only be a Caymanian.
But like that.
You may not be a native Caymanian, but you're still a Caymanian.
Well, you see, again, Dwayne, this is why I said earlier on that I think that we support the minister with a broad question, because here you can see that no matter what it is that you put out there, and especially if you get into even more specifics, you're going to get more division. When I hear the comments about whether they're real Caymanians or not, first of all, if we went down that road, we probably wouldn't argue on behalf of any industry in Cayman.
Yeah.
I mean, what industry we can argue for? Financial services, because that's pure Caymanians. Which particular industry? I think the focus has to be is to understand at this present point in time, because I'd happily discuss the Caymanian issue another day, is that we need cruise tourism. Cruise tourism is impacting the lives of every single person in the country to one degree or another.
All right.
And more so Caymanians.
So let me finish reading this first, right? This continues to say that the local co-op is largely dysfunctional and questionable in terms of membership representation. When did it even last meet? Again, understanding where people are in terms of wanting to share it. This listener writes, in reference to what was shared, did he say the port does not make enough money to pay for its own equipment? What about the customs duties collected? The three individuals are well-intentioned, but sometimes misdirecting their efforts.
Okay.
Tell us.
You're going so many things that we better just pause as we go through.
This is, well, I'll tell you.
Customs is a totally separate entity from the port.
Right.
So custom fees collected go directly to government. Port fees go to the port. So customs does not. Yeah, customs fees do not contribute to port equipment.
And this is where it touches, I think, and concerns us in tourism and port in general, right? Many of the world sports operators are local or export owned. Let's hold that one there, because why I emphasize that the whole notion of this becoming an emotive issue, we can't separate the emotional from the economics. We can separate the political from the actual, and knowing Mr. Woods that we were going to have an abbreviated time and a very involved, strong intellects like yours, I invite to return. One of the things, Ms. Susan is so gracious with giving us extra time.
And something that is important for us to grab a hold of in terms of emotion.
Yeah.
We believe that all of our visitors are created equal. And that a cruise passenger is no less deserving of a true Cayman kind experience than a stayover visitor. When they're coming through the port facilities. The quality of that experience, the convenience of it, the safety of it, and the efficiency of it.
And to harp on that point, let me just say this. I mentioned earlier on that most of the time as locals, we just have to circumvent the whole tourism area. But I believe, honestly, if Caymanians had a chance to get out there on the port, they can actually see what the tourists and stuff are going through. I think most Caymanians would be appalled, because the Cayman kind that I know, Caymanians will not tolerate people being treated like that. That's backyard treatment. That's not front yard treatment.
Yeah. One thing, let's ask quickly, and please, privately and publicly, it's not dismissive, not disrespectful, but I'm trying to balance. Let me just ask one. There's a dock that's going to be built. We hear cruise, we hear cargo. Is that two separate things? Can the two coexist? To you, as former port director, or acting director, Mr. Woods?
The two can coexist on the same property, but they have to be separate. And I'll tell you the simple logistics of it. Wherever you have cranes and equipment, you're going to get hydraulic oil leaking. You get the dock itself is going to be nasty. You don't want that for cruise passengers that go back on the ship and their shoe is full of oil and they got trapped.
And the smell and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you keep them one side.
Yeah.
But they can coexist on the same property.
Right.
Now
but utilize separately.
The other thing is, now, do you have sufficient space for both?
Yeah. Well, we didn't scratch the surface, right? And I know that Mr. Woods had a number of options to choose. Before we're going to close it up, but before we leave, we're going to agree on another time for the whole show, because I don't feel that you've been given sufficient time to air
We
without
appreciate
include
that.
it. So we're going to do it. We're going to also indirectly ask Mr. Woods to find sponsors to buy the whole program without commercial. But no, all just thanks very much for coming in. And what this is going to do is cause more of us to recognize that we have a lot more questions, may cement our perspectives, but I appreciate the importance of doing this for the long-term good of the country. Gents, thanks very much for coming in. Ms. Susan, thanks for the 8 minutes and 42 seconds extra.
And thank you for giving us the chance to help educate, to help share facts, and to help shape a sensible discussion around this.
And who
Thank you.
knows?
I look forward to being back.
Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Well, we can tell you tomorrow when you come back again, because we're going to decide in a second. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Tomorrow is Wednesday. That means a number of things. But most importantly, OC is on in the morning, so you got to join him. Be a part of that discussion. Come back for Talk Today right after the midday news. The second thing it means is that, well, I mean that today is Tuesday, so tomorrow must be Wednesday. I'll tell you what that means tomorrow. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio